Hey, I'm Bob with Laguna Tools. Around here they call me Router Bob. I'm standing in front of a very large CNC router. This is called the Laguna SmartShop CF16. CF stands for Composite Fabricator. This machine is part of a system we developed here at Laguna Tools for fabricating ACM. ACM is aluminum composite material, and it's commonly put on buildings or building coverings, and that's why this table is so large, because the sheet sizes available are huge. The SmartShop CF machines include the Laguna Touch machine controller that we developed with VCAR Automation from Austria. It's extremely simple to use, and it's easy to teach people how to use it, and the performance is second to none. The other part of our ACM fabrication system is actually a front-end software product that we developed just for use with this machine. It enables us to start with typical information we might get from an architect, prepare the panels, and run them on the machine. The SmartShop CFs have a vacuum table that has actually 6 zones in the table, but it also has some vacuum plugs that can be taken out to give you more capability in terms of how you configure it. In our particular case today, our material is 4 foot by 8 foot, so we've put a 4 foot by 8 foot spoil board on here, and it's gasketed around the perimeter, so all our vacuum is going to be directed at the work area. The CF16 is a member of the Laguna SmartShop CNC family. Here's what that means. The base frame is structural steel, all welded. The gantry is a fabricated steel gantry. The motion control in X and Y are controlled by helical racks and in Z precision ball screws. What makes this machine an ACM machine is not the table size necessarily. The table is large because the material sizes can be very large. What makes it unique for ACM are the actual heads, or what we call the head package on the machine. Now there's some special requirements when you machine these panels. For instance, a lot of times we're doing miter folds so that we cut a V slot in there and we fold it up and that forms a corner. And the thickness of the material left is very, very critical. So in order to maintain that, we actually have a head that floats so that it floats on the surface of the material, and then we get consistent hinges on every cut. There are typically 3 machining operations required for ACM panels. We already talked about the miter fold. We also have to have a way to cut the exterior parts out, and we have to have a way to drill holes. That's why this machine has 3 heads. One for miter fold, one for cutting the part out, one for drilling the holes. These machines have a centralized oil lubrication system, and they're actually remotely controlled from the machine control cabinet, so it's really, really easy to keep the machine lubricated. These machines have part locator pins, and if you'll notice, they're actually adjustable so you can position them. They're located on the front and down the side. It really speeds up putting material on the table. Now let's go take a look at the software component of the Laguna ACM fabrication system. You know, machining ACM is fairly easy and fairly straightforward. It machines good, the tooling's available. Probably the more difficult part is getting the files ready to machine, and that's why we developed this Laguna Composite Panel Builder software. And let me tell you a little bit about how we got started on this and how we arrived at where we ended up. One of the things we wanted to do was to make it easy. We wanted to make difficult things easy, impossible things possible. So we wanted something to make the front end part of it simple so that you don't have to draw all these panels and all the details on them, which is what a lot of companies do. So the first thing we started out is looking for, okay, well, what type of information does a typical ACM shop get? Well, it's pretty much always going to be from an architect. Not always. It could be other things, but typically this is going to be, it's going on a building, and an architect has probably spec'd it. So you're probably going to have architectural stuff to start with. That's not always the case. All right, so we selected then AutoCAD as the engine for the front end of this, and it's because AutoCAD is so universal. So many people have it, so AutoCAD also has an internal engine to automate operations. So instead of doing redundant things over and over, AutoCAD gives us the ability to automate that, and that's really what started all this. We also wanted to make sure that we didn't wrap this up so tightly that you couldn't do other things with the software, because not everything you're going to do on the machine may be ACM panel fabrication. So we also wanted our system to give you flexibility, and I think we came up with a really, really good solution. One of the things that you run into, of course, in fabricating this stuff is there are different systems for it's really for hanging the panels on the wall. We might call them construction methods. So what we wanted to do was was to create a basic system that's built in that already works. Now when I say system, what it typically involves is extrusions. It's how you mount it to the wall. Now, you may make your own extrusions, because if the volume of extrusions used justifies making the dies. Now, in that case, the software can be set up for however your extrusion system is. But I also wanted a system built in case that you're new to this and you wanted to get into it and you didn't want to start making extrusions. And so we got those from a company in Atlanta that specializes in this, called Southern Aluminum Finishing. And so that's where all these extrusions we're using can be ordered directly from them. Now to start with, I've opened up a drawing that's got a lot of instructions on it to kind of help you understand the workflow. If you notice on the left-hand side, I've got a drawing here. Think about this as being the reveals. Now, if you have two adjacent panels, the reveal is the space in between them. Ours, we're going to at least set it a 1/2 inch. So I've got the reveal, and then and the center lines for the reveal. So sometimes that's all you get. And then you have to create the rest of the drawing. So let's start, let this be our first scenario. So I've got the reveals. The first thing I'm going to do is actually determine what size the panels actually are going to be. So there's a utility that does that. And you notice if we look up close now, what that factored in the reveals. So those yellowish lines in there actually create the true size of what the panel is going to be. So that's the first step. Once I've got that done, then I'm going to create the panel from that. And so what I'll do is I'll just start clicking. Oops, first off, what we can do is when we create these panels, we're going to preface them with a letter or an identification. We'll just use X. I'll hit OK. Because you got to remember, sometimes you have really large jobs, and we're going to make them out of blue. All right. So as I click inside of there, you'll see it creates that. It's going in there and it's creating that panel. So I don't have to do a whole lot. Okay, I'm happy with that. Right now, so what it's done is it's gone in there and it detected the edges. It's determined, assigned a label to it. Now, but what I really need is I need something to machine. So I need to turn them into what I call a pizza box. So the next operation is going to be this. I'm going to click that. I'm going to select that panel. Now, here's the panels. It's identified them. And I'll just pick them all. I'm going to hit draw. And I think this is the magic part right here. This draws what I call pizza boxes. Now if you notice on the screen, so it's taking that panel size, whoops, let's zoom into here. It's taking that panel size and look what it's done. Now there's the returns, there's all the fold lines, there's the holes, so everything's been added. To me, that's the part that's so difficult, that's so time consuming, because you have to do that for every panel. In a couple clicks I did it for all of them, all right? So what's the next step? Well, once I'm finished with that, it's time to stage it. So I'm going to select them. Actually, let's hit stage first. Let's stage them. Then let's select the panels we want to stage, and we'll just do them all. I'm going to hit enter, and it says insertion point, and I'll put them out here in space. This is pretty neat too. Okay, now if you notice, it created a drawing. Well, what do I need that for? Well, I need a drawing of every one of these panels to take to the shop so the guys can put all the extrusions on them. All right, so there they all are. But I'm not, and that's wonderful, but what I'm really concerned about is how do I make those on the CNC machine? Well, let me show you something. I hit DXF. I say I'm going to select that. There's a lot of outputs. I can do a printer output. I'm going to select all of them. Oops. And I'm going to export them. Now what that just did was that basically took each one of those panels and gave me a drawing that I can send to the CNC to machine. So we talked earlier about there's the process of creating the drawings. This is what this just did. Right now, then there's tool pathing. So our next step is let's go in and look at the tool pathing. Okay, this is what that drawing looked like. So the drawing that was output from the software basically is a DXF drawing that's layered, and it has all the things I need on it to assign tool paths to. And the error that you see is grain direction, because grain direction is going to be important in most cases when you hang the panels. All right, now let's go to the next step. We've created all the drawings of the panels. The machining information is in layers. So now let's carry it to the next step. Let's do the nesting, and let's do the output for the tool path. Now we're going to bring these into a software called VCAR Pro that also lets you do other things with your machines. I didn't really want to button everything up, so that's all this software did. And it has an automation function, so we can automate activities like we did in AutoCAD. So in our case, the material size we have for our project is 48 by 96. Once again, typically ACM material is going to be much larger. The first thing I'm going to do is bring all those in, and the way we do that, it's called batch processing. It's going to bring in everything I put in that folder. So there's all 16 parts that were created. So they're the parts. You see the parts with the corner folds in them. All right, now the next thing is I'll look at those grain errors, and I'd really rather turn the grain the other way. So I'll just select all those and do that. Now this would be a really good time if you had some other panels that you wanted to make. So let's say that within this material I had 3 or 4 panels from something else. I could bring those in right now and merge it right into it. So sometimes that makes sense. Then the next function is nesting. So what we're going to do is we're going to nest these so that they fit on the sheet as good as possible. In this case, this happens to be a really, really good nest because of the part sizes. Then finally, I want to tool path them. The final process is tool pathing, and I click that, and all those programs are created. So in just a few clicks, those parts were brought in, nested, tool path, and output, and now those files are ready to send out to the CNC and make. That's about as easy as it gets. I think we're ready to run this panel. Wow, 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 these edges just look beautiful. Wow, the cutters did magnificent, and the miter folds, the depth's just perfect and it's consistent. The floating head really worked. This material really machines well, and this machine, it really handles it. I'm really looking forward to carrying this further and putting extrusions on, so I've got quite a bit of work to do now. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I had a great time. I really liked the SmartShop CF16. I had a wonderful time with this material and with the software. If you have any questions, you can call us at 800-234-1976, or you can find us on the internet at lagunatools.com. Thank you for watching.